tennis program. And please help me welcome Jeff Chandley.
Oh, I don't think I'll need a microphone, but anyway, welcome. Thanks for coming. Carol, thank you for the introductions, as always. But let me tell you how this kind of got started, and some of you may have heard this. One day I was sitting in church, and the pastor was talking about the 12 characteristics of a healthy church. And so as I was sitting there, I'm thinking, of course, should have been listening to the sermon, but then I started thinking, I wonder what the characteristics of a healthy tennis program are. And so I'm making notes on the bulletin and going through it. So I ended up reaching out to some counterparts across the United States, and I said, what would be the characteristics of a healthy tennis program? Give me your ideas and send it to me. Then after that, I started reaching out to members here at the club, at the Landings Club, and at Sawgrass, where the clubs that I've been at before, and said, give me your idea of what a healthy tennis program is. And they all sent me a ton of information. And I was looking for 12 characteristics, and I ended up, by the time we got through consolidating everything, we came down with 8 characteristics of a healthy tennis program. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I've been in this business for 35 years now and have been blessed to be at some nice clubs. But what I've learned more than anything is I listen to the people around me, the members, the other pros, and really have gained so much information by just keeping my ears open and learning from them, and that's where a lot of this will be coming from. So when you define a tennis program, are you defining a facility or just a program? And I'm looking at programs. It's nice to have a great facility. I'm blessed to have one here. We're continuing to upgrade it. But that doesn't necessarily define a great tennis program. I've seen great programs at city parks and clubs that didn't have the resources that I'm blessed to have here. So we're going to define what the programs are. And again, if you look at what does it take, you know, to have a healthy or unhealthy program. Here you've got pros that are well dressed. Is that a healthy program? Are they leading a healthy program? You never know. But then you have the other type of pro that comes in, and can you define which one would have a healthy program? Chances are the ones that take pride in themselves first and foremost. Then we talk about facilities. What does it take to have a healthy program in a facility versus something that looks like this and moving forward? So what we'll talk about today will be, I'll present what healthy findings I found, gather some healthy information from you guys also. I'd love some feedback on these topics, the 8 topics that I come up with. And then we'll prioritize them, and then we'll self-evaluate your program, and then we'll have, hopefully this was a healthy discussion. So what's the first thing you think is a priority of a healthy tennis program? The leadership. Okay, bringing in having the right leadership and having the right plans moving forward. Yesterday, you have to have a broad and inclusive leadership. I'm blessed here at the places that I've been before. The leadership is, and I'm at a golf community, all right? Everybody knows the Atlanta Athletic Club because of the golf for the most part. Well, the leadership from the board to the general manager all believe in the tennis program here. And they're investing this year alone probably $500,000 into the program in our capital. So it tells me that my leadership the leadership that I have over me is in for the program. We have our mission, you heard it yesterday, vision and purpose. You heard that from Dave, you heard that from Pat Whitworth yesterday also. Leadership's also providing results through the people. We do training constantly here at all levels. And we're always trying to train our staff to be the next directors in the next program. We're built on relationships, my relationship with the GM, my relationship with the board, my staff's relationship with the leadership here also is very vital to our success and moving forward. The board leadership committees, we're always engaged and we're respected. There's nothing worse than being a part of a program or part of a club that the committee and the director are disengaged. We have to make sure that we're always engaged. And I know a lot of you have heard about SWOT analysis. business plans that I do, the SWOT analysis. When I first got here to the club, that was the first thing I did. In my SWOT analysis, and you know, I'm blessed to have done it this way, it wasn't on purpose. I did a SWOT analysis with the tennis committee at that time, separate than the staff, and then I did one with the staff. And it was interesting to see the conflict between what the committee thought was a strength or a weakness and what the staff thought was a strength, and they were in conflict. So we need to make sure that we're always engaged with our committee and our chairman and our GM. Any questions on that? Then what is the director of tennis? What is the leadership here? I got to have supportive policies. Again, the club has to have policies that support what we're trying to do at tennis. We're focused on the growth. I'm always focused on the growth, not pushing my staff, but hiring staff that know that they want to continue to grow in the program. We're driven to meet both and exceed the expectations of our membership and of the staff and each other. Perform tracking and measures. You know, tracking is key. It's nothing better than for me to go back to the tennis committee or my GM and track that we're now 20% up in lesson revenue, or we're our court usage, or we do a standards and audit programs where the committee comes in and they audit the facilities, and you take that information back to the finance committee, and that's how I got so much money this year. And because we've set the standards, they've gone out and done the audits. We've been tracking that for 2 years. The finance committee sees that I need to rebuild the hard courts. And that's crucial. So always having that information coming forward. And we do surveys also, always trying to do surveys. Any questions on the leadership part?
What kind of surveys?
Say it again.
What kind of surveys?
We do total membership surveys. We are now getting ready to implement special event surveys. At the end of the special event, we have a new program coming in. I don't know the name of it right now, but we'll be sending it out to the participants to get their feedback. And there's an app that they'll be able to use to quickly, if they see something wrong with the court, they can quickly take a picture of it and send it with that app, and it'll come straight to the GM, and then it'll come to me.
And this being a country club, so having the kind of surveys that help you design next year's calendar of events, do you do that kind of surveys as well? Or?
Well, and that mostly comes from a focus group. Yeah, we try to lead with a focus group. Surveys are great, but when it comes to special events, we sit down with the committee and talk about, you know, focus group, get in front of them. And we'll talk a little bit about our vision meeting that we did this year in January, where we sit down with the membership and talk about what we did in 2017 and what our plans for 2018 and what do they want to see. We had some good conversation about that also. Second on the list was a healthy staffing, okay? So what do we have from there? Contagious passion for the profession. I know you guys played golf yesterday, but I don't want a tennis pro that's a scratch golfer, okay? Because they spend too much time on the golf course and not enough time on the tennis court. Right now, I want them to be role models, be happy, have humility, that we know that they're great at what they do, but they need to understand we're in the service business. Believe they can make a difference. We always want them to make a difference in their lives, not just on the court, but with the members that they're with. Continual professional growth. This year we did something different. Instead of just paying, the club pays for their dues, for the USPTA, PTR, GPTA, and all of that. So this past year, in years, I just paid it, and that was great. But this past year I came up with a plan that they had to hit so many, they had to pay their own dues, and they had to hit so many hurdles before I refunded them the money for their dues. Make a presentation at the GPTA, bring in their counterparts from around the area to have a meeting, write an article for the net news, those types of things before, to show that they were worth giving the money to pay their dues. And it really kind of worked out this past year. You always have to understand the membership, the clientele's values, adapt to the changing needs. In the last 5 years, we've dropped the age of the membership, average age, probably by about 5 to 6 years. Brought in, gosh, I don't know how many kids now we have, 1,800 kids under the age of 16 at the club now. And that's changed drastically over the last 5 years because of some membership plans that we put together, payment plans. We did a 40 under 40 for $40,000 that they could pay over 5 years, and it brought in a whole bunch of new families and dropped the age, which has been really successful. We've had to change what we've been doing in the past, from a junior program, from Tennis 101 program, those types of things. So we had to change as a need. We always want to embrace our vision, our mission statement, and the core values of the club. Our core values here at the club are RISE, respect, integrity, sincerity, and enthusiasm. That's the 4 core values that we have. And we want to live by each staff, and I know Dave talked about this, each staff member has their own mission statement, has their whole plan for the year, but it's important for them to have their own mission. And then we're goal-oriented. And then finally, on the healthy staffing, as soon as I click it again, you know, we're one big family over at the tennis center, and I'm proud to say that we get along great over there. I always joke that we're all 8s, but everybody covers everybody else's weakness, and so we all have that type of community when we're over there at the club and working together. We're discreet, we're confidential when it comes to each other and what's going on when we need to keep the secrets. We're engaged with each other and with the membership. We have a team environment. We meet weekly and spend time together. We understand we always every year go over everybody's job description in our day-long staff meeting just to review what their job description is, but then everybody else sees, again, gets a review of what the job description is, and I think that's very important. This is the one item I wish we had more time to do, the off-site interaction. Last year, I think it was, we went to Top Golf. We've gone down to the Braves Stadium and gotten one of the higher-ups at the Braves. Is a member here that we teach. Carmen got a suite for us down there, which was really cool. Doing more off-site items, but our lives are outside the gates are kind of busy, so I wish we could do more than that. We have open and honest communication. We're relatable to the membership and to each other. We do a lot of onboarding and orientation and continually training that way. We want to make sure that the staff is not just a part of the USPTA and these types of events, but we also do a lot of management training that our last GM who is just leaving, but hopefully the new GM coming in the 1st of August will continue. But we have a leadership team of about 80 here at the club, and about once a quarter we get together. And this is senior staff at the next level and the next level of managers. And we spend time with them on books and training and bringing them in to help them grow and meet their goals. Any other healthy staffing ideas that you can see that I left out? Y'all awake out there? Is that too much information too quick? So one of the books we read this past year, The 5 Dysfunctions of the Team. We did this as a senior management. It's really, and pass the books on to the staff. If you ever get a chance to read this book, it is well worth it. It's a story about a lady that took over a big company, and when she walked in, it was pretty dysfunctional, and how she was going to turn it around and did, and it's pretty cool. But the pyramid of the 5 dysfunctions of a team were absence of trust was the first, which we all know if we can't trust each other as a team, it's pretty scary. I mean, there's nothing worse. I was talking to a pro, one of my past pros that's in a situation right now that one of his pros is backstabbing him to the membership. he called me up and he's like, what should I do? And I said, you need to get out in front of it quickly. Don't let this fester and grow. But we all have to be able to trust each other that, one, we're going to do what we say we're going to do what we're told to do, and that we're going to protect each other at all times. Fear of conflict, we need to be able to have those conversations with each other that are tough and respectful, but don't always agree, and that's one of the dysfunctions that you can have, and I've been in those situations before. Lack of commitment. We all know that we all need to be committed to what we're doing. Avoidance of accountability. Nothing worse than somebody throwing off issues onto somebody else, especially when they're not in the room. That, well, this is because they didn't tell me. Well, it's easy to blame somebody when they're not in the same room. And then you have the people with the status and the ego and attention to results, that I want everything to revolve around me. We're blessed here at the club that we don't have that with our staff. I mean, I laugh because there's really not a whole lot of ego at the staff level, is there? Any questions on it? That's a book, easy read. It's well worth reading. So the next thing comes up, the third is healthy communication. And you want to try to always have open communication both with the members and the clients and your staff. I probably I don't have a full day of spending time in my office unless my door's open and people are coming in all the time. I want to make sure, and it's always interesting that the members will look into my office and go, can I come in? And I'm always shocked. And I'm like, please come in and sit down and talk. I'm not on the court as much as the rest of the staff, but I want them always to feel free to be able to come in. And I always hate when they go, I don't mean to bother you. And that's what I'm here for, not to be bothered, but for you to come in and talk to me. So we always want to have open door policy. We want to be expert listeners. 90% of the job, 10% of the feedback, is to be a listener and to give feedback. Always be interested before being interesting. That's what I have to tell my staff, some of my staff every once in a while that really like to talk. Always be interested before being interesting. You want to encourage input, one-on-one or in a group setting, comment cards. Our vision meeting again was, first time we did the vision meeting this January, and I did have a couple members that came up to me and go, God, you really put yourself out there for criticism. If you're going to present this 2018 and what you did in 2017, but the chances are you may not get the feedback you want. Well, and my comment was, well, I don't want my head to be in the sand. So I'd rather them, talk to me and let me know what I need to work on or we need to work on as the staff, because the staff was there. And it turned out great. They were like, well, we're going to have some positive people there. And I'm like, well, whatever. That's fine. Again, going back to the open door policy, we want to own it. Utilize all available communication avenues. We all know that what's the best communication? One-on-one conversation, face-to-face. I love phone most of the time. I know Carmen does a lot of work on the phone. Emails, all of that are great, but I'm not quite sure we really get the word out with the number of emails that come out from across the club. We have staff meetings, weekly, quarterly, annually. Individual staff meetings, this is a tough one for us because we're really busy, and it's even though we will carve out time to sit down and talk, sometimes something gets in the way, and so it's, if we get to meet once a month individually, that's probably a positive thing. We already talked about the focus groups, trying to stay on track with focus groups. That's feedback two-way. One of our big things with the tennis committee is always, you're the ears to the membership, but you're also the voice from us back out to the membership. So our tennis committee is a focus group, but they're also a sounding board for the membership as a whole. Any other communication ideas that you have that you found? Great. I got it all covered then. Diverse offerings and balance. We all understand that no matter what program, what club you're in, you need to be diverse in what you do. I don't want you to be so spread out that you can't focus on things, but you need to make sure that you're able to attract new members and able to attract the needs and wants of a diverse membership. So we have two different pathways in juniors and adults. We have a competitive pathway and we have a social pathway. And we have programs designed to meet both of those needs, and it really works out pretty well. We all know that we need to have different level and gender and age special events and things for them to do, whether it's instructional or whatever, just to make sure we cover. Tennis 101 and 201 has been going on for 100 years, but it has brought probably 135 new tennis players to the game over the last 2 years for us. It is huge what that has done. We do a 6-week program, give them a $25 Wilson tennis racket, and they come in a group setting, and it is just huge for what it's brought to our new members in play. Open play, men's and ladies' nights, 2 big programs that we have that's diverse, all different levels. Organized play, king of the court, queen of the court, where they come out and sign up and they move up and down. Club championships, holiday mixers, social events. One of the big things that we miss out on are some of our mixers. We are a very competitive club. We thrive around our Alta and USTA and T2, and clinics are built around those teams, but they're here a lot. And so our social mixers during the winter time and on Friday or Saturday night are always competing with something over here at the club. And so this year, one of the big things that we want to work on is how can we build those Friday night mixers or Saturday night mixers. Out of the vision meeting that we had, the members go, look, pick the 3rd Friday of the month, September through April, and just say that's when you're going to do a mixer. I'm always trying to figure out what Friday night that something's not happening over here at the club. Well, that's crazy. There's always something going on. Or a Saturday, when's Georgia not playing at home? Or do they have a weak game? Or, you know, and then I got to deal with Georgia Tech for the 4 people that went to Georgia Tech. And then ladders. Has anybody had real success with ladders?
With the juniors.
With the juniors? Anybody else? I mean, they always kind of go, you know, for 3 months, they'll go hard and heavy, and then it just kind of slows down for us. Any ideas on how to generate a ladder that is ongoing? No, see, I think everybody has.
I have prizes for the people that are at the top each month, so they have something to shoot for.
You know, what I'm thinking about is they get a special parking place. As long as they're on top of the ladder, that's their parking place. That may be something to recognize if their cars parked there for the men and the women. So,
That'd be worth it.
Up
Taking
north,
notes.
up north we use them to determine, I know you can't do that down here, I'm learning that, but up north we use the ladders to determine the ladies' team placement there.
yeah.
But it was a
No, I don't want to hear that. Yes.
That's
And I've done that before too in
the
Nashville.
Northeast thing.
Yeah, I don't know if that'd be a blessing if it worked.
Yeah.
So, go back, this is my own research, club championships. Are you all very successful with your club championships? Yeah. How many host a club championship? 1, 2.
I will.
You will? 2. Wow. We hosted them and had good success because the board and the Heritage Committee threw a dinner for the champions. It was nice. Prime rib, had their family, didn't cost them anything, recognized them, you know, with the golf, the tennis, and whatever athletics did. Very successful. Well, tennis kind of, with all the levels, there'd be 50 tennis champions there, and 4 golfers, and so they kind of cut back on that this year. So I can already tell the champions is going to die out.
How about a member guest? Y'all do that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, my ladies member guest will have 120 people in it in August. The men are just really cranking up, so we'll have, you know, I think we had 20 teams this year is how it went. We do a Friday ladies member guest. It just turned into where they didn't want anybody to sit out. Well, I would have 15 to 16 teams on the wait list. And I just finally went to the member guest ladies committee and just said, let's quit leaving these ladies out. Let me try something. Well, now they play, they're off, they play, they're off, they play, they're off, and I had 110 ladies this year, and it's a social. Then we do lunch and prizes afterwards, and door prizes. And one of the big successes that Carmen and the committee put together is they reach out to each competitive team, and each team is assigned a theme, and they put a basket together. And then we auction off those baskets, and that money goes to the charity, and it really works out really well. They do these neat baskets, whether it's, it can be movie night, or it can be something like that. It really works out well. So each team has a basket that they put together, and we auction them off and raise money for the charity. I think we raised $3,000 for the charity this year. Then you go to special events. Again, we're forward focused. We're always trying to find out what would be cool down the road and what would be new. You know, planning, the 5 Ps. Everybody knows what 5 Ps are, right? Yeah, maybe. Proper planning prevents poor performance. You know, and that's kind of it. There's really 6 Ps in there, but. So you want to plan things out. You want to make sure that you know you're organized, professional look and feel. Pat Whitworth was talking about the Disney experience yesterday. There was a great information about have music playing, make you feel like you've arrived at the event. That's key. Have a contingency plan. There's nothing worse than only having one plan in the bucket, and then it rains or people don't show up or whatever, and you don't have a contingency plan. Staffing, fully staffed. Who cleans up? You know, a lot of times the staff just, last ball's hit, see ya. And then the place looks like it's trashed, and so you need to make sure that you have a cleanup crew afterwards. This is one of my pet peeves lately. Annual events, new events, charity events. We do the surveys, the follow-up, communication of the successes, and you know, our Club Times is our bi-monthly newsletter, email, pictures, those types of things, promoting how much fun the membership had. And then just make sure that each event is a fun event, even if it's a club championship, it should be a fun event. Healthy instruction. You know, expert instruction, certified, up to date on the newest trends. It's great to have the event, the Southern Conference here, so my staff can spend time on that. We want to have, you know, skill progression and pathways. We talked about that. We want to be able to take a beginner all the way to advanced player if that's what they choose to desire to. Cardio tennis. You know, we have 2 certified cardio tennis, but we have programs that are like cardio tennis. We call them high speed, we call them hit and fit, we call them 1,000-ball drills. And those are very popular. They're kind of drop-in clinics. We charge $18 for everybody that comes. Cardio tennis, of course, Carmen can have, you know, 12 people on 2 courts, and it runs like an army drills. So, but drop-in clinics are huge. Stroke reduction clinics, we fall a little bit behind on those. Something we're working on. Consistent instruction. You know, my team, we all don't teach the same, but we all have the same philosophies, and we understand what the other one's doing and why they're talking about it. We discuss those types. Organized lesson plans are out the clinic. Carmen puts together the lesson plan for the clinics for the week, what we're going to be working on, what each group is, not just a broad lesson plan, what each level is going to be working on. We talk about what we see after Thursday's ALTA matches and what we should be working on. We want to be unique. We have technology that we have the ability to use, whether it's Dartfish, video, social media, Tennis Stack, Pro Tracker, Improved Tennis. Just bought a new camera so that we could start videoing matches a little bit easier. So we're gonna offer that a little more often. My goal one day, if you want to know what it is to have 4 cameras on each indoor court so that I can video the matches, and then when the ladies say, what did I do wrong, I can pull it up, or the guys. Then of course we want to be financially healthy as a group, and it doesn't matter if you're at a country club, a public park, you know, we need to understand the business side of what we're doing. We want to be, you know, I just went the wrong way, didn't I? Excuse me. We have to have healthy budgeting, and this was the first club that I've been at where the GM told me, don't overestimate your revenue. It was the first time somebody said that to me. You know, usually you're trying to impress the GM and the finance committee, but you know, he was the first one that said, be realistic. So I never felt any pressure that I needed to always be growing, even though we have, but I didn't have to grow at leaps and bounds. But there's different ways to budget, of course. You can go by your history, you can zero base, but just be realistic in your budgeting of the department. And also be realistic in your event budgeting and always keep tracking. You know, revenue streams, we all should be trying to see growth in each one of those. It's important that the board and finance committee understand, or whoever you have to respond to each month when you get your financials, and that you have some growth in your revenue stream. Now, in 2009-10, when the economy dropped, and we all knew what was going to happen, that lessons were going to take a hit. I can remember that in April when we started getting calls about their bill and why was I getting charged for this lesson and those types of things. And you know, I told the staff, look, we just need to keep them here playing, no matter what it takes, keep them here playing so that when we get through this next 2 years, you know, we'll be building the program back. So there, you have to understand the economy also. Cost controls. I'll tell you a quick history right now on my outdoor courts. We bid everything out. I get 2 to 3 bids, and I think everybody, that's just good business sense. But I had, on the cost of redoing the hard courts coming up on Monday, I had a bid of $225,000 and a bid of $260,000 from 2 top people who was waiting on my 3rd one. And I thought, how can there be such a difference between 225 and 260? So I called the guy that was doing the 260 and I said, look, you're way off. I didn't tell him how much, but I said, you're way off. I'm going to give you another chance to think about this. Well, by the time he came back down to 225, he was also going to do my clay court labor for free. And I got everything back down to 225 where I needed to be, plus my clay court. I always go out for bids. There's a lot of guys that don't go for bids here in town. A lot of directors that don't. It's amazing how much money you can save and still get quality work done if you go out for the bid process. And forecast your expenses. We all know it's tough to look through the crystal ball, but you need to be forecasting what your expenses are going to be. And take ownership in the club's money, the public parks money, all those things. Always take ownership in the money that you're blessed to have control of. And then lastly, a healthy environment. Hopefully this is one of the best and biggest ones we have here at the club. We have a service-first mentality. How many people can I make happy today? I mean, that's how we have to walk in. And that doesn't just mean members. That means staff also. You know, we use who comes in the front door and who comes in the back door. You know, the people that deliver from UPS, how can we make their day happy also? The you before me mentality is crucial. I think that we do a great job of, you know, you before me, whether it's a member or a staff member. We must have the respect between the members and staff. years to gain can be destroyed. You know, you can gain respect over years, but you can destroy it in 1 minute with your actions or your talk. It's gained through honest commitment to their satisfaction. We want to make sure that it's easy for the members to get engaged into our program, so how can we help them stay engaged? We want to make sure that we have a safe environment for our juniors and that we're confidentiality of what goes on when members talk to us about their private, because you know we're just marketing it also. We want to make sure we have a sense of community. Yeah, I learn more stuff from our members that I don't want to know about them, but we have to act and be engaged, and I know everybody in this room feels that way. So there are your 8 healthy characteristics. Anything else that I may have missed out in those? Can anybody think of anything on Saturday morning? Another book for you to read, Grit. If you want to read a really good book. Talks about not just how smart you are, but how hard you work. And the studies they did, either through the military, what's the time is it now? Through the military or through some of the Ivy League schools, that not necessarily the smartest one was the most successful one. And it's really interesting to see how they follow people. And hard work, you know, we want to work smart, but hard work really does pay off with your passions toward what you do. So if you get a chance to read this book, we did read most of this book to the staff, and it was quite a good book. So was that a hit or a miss? Any information you can take out? If you all ever want me to email this to you, I saw some of you taking pictures. I'll be happy to.
Jeff, I just want to share that I stole your audit. You were nice enough to send that to the court audit, and I highly recommend everybody use that in facilities. If you don't already have something like that.
Yeah, you all understand what that is? When I was at the landings, I had some people on the committee, thanks Daryl, and they said, we need to start auditing the facilities. We talk about programs and things like that. And so there I had 32 clay courts. And you know, you want each court to be the same look for the members, no matter what court they're on. So we sat for a year and talked about what standards of the net were going to be, what standards of the surface were going to be, the lines, the headband on the net, and then which I don't know if I gave you that, but everything was graded by priority. You know, what's the best priority? Then the committee each month would go out. We had an audit committee would go out, and I'd give them the sheets, and they would go and audit 2 courts, and it was pass or fail, and bring it back, and then it gave my staff 30 days to correct it if they could. Most of them could be corrected in 15 minutes. You know how that goes. If it couldn't be corrected in 30 days, it'd take a lot of money to correct it. So those things kept showing up on the audits because I didn't have the money to fix the cracks in the courts or whatever. And then that would go to the finance committee, and they realized, okay, he can't do this with the operational. We need to give him money to repair these things or take care of these things from a capital side. So there's a lot. So that's another, if you want me to send you I have them for indoor courts, hard courts, and clay courts that have the standards on one side, and on the other side is the audit. So I'll be happy to send that to you. Yeah. I mean, it audits the chairs and those types of things. And it's in an Excel file. Yes, sir.
Does there anybody have a cure for big cracks without having to totally resurface?
I've tried everything here.
Nothing.
You know, they just continue to go.
Yeah.
They just continue to go.
So you got to dig them up and redo the subsurface.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what some of you heard it, but starting Monday, they're taking up all my hard courts, 9, 10, 11, and 12, because I can't fix the cracks anymore, so, which is a big, new lights and all that, which is a big project. So I haven't heard of anything. You know, they have that, what is it, armor protect, and I've done that, and you put it down, and then next thing you know, the crack's going past where they put it down. So once you get a crack in it, it's there for good. Anything else? Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Tell me about your drop-in clinics. We ask our people to commit to 5 weeks, but if you're dropping in, what if 2 people show, or what if 22 people show? How do you monitor it?
Well, we try to get them, when we say drop in, it's probably a weekly clinic. We try to get them to call in and reserve a spot, but 2/3 will, the other third won't. And they all have learned that they may show up with 10 people and 1 pro, or there may be 2. And we always just tell the staff that, you know, the time you have 10 pros and you're making $180 an hour versus the time you made 36, because ours are $18 to drop in, you know, it all weighs out. But, you know, Carmen will have 12 people with cardio. Jeff Stack had that adult camp, it was 14 the other day. Luckily, we had a pro there, and they jumped on 2 courts.
But it's also depending on the clinics that we teach. You know, we teach cardio tennis. We know we can keep people moving because of the program. You know, we can have 14 on 2 courts, or we can have 8 on 1 court. But if we're doing a stroke of the clinic based on, you know, come and learn topspin, we know we can have 14 people. So we usually have a limit for the type of class. So we know for stroke production, we're only going to have a 6-1 ratio. And they can, you know, and I think that the biggest difference that we're committed to teach the class, whether it's 1 person, and we'll make $18, or whether it is 6 people. And if that person that comes and gets a private lesson for $18, she's going to come back, or he's going to come back. And then next time we'll have 3 or 4 or 5. In cardio tennis, we're going to have more. So we know what's the ratio for each of the class, what efficiency, you know, how good we can teach a class with that amount of people. So, you know.
I always say $18 is better than no dollars. You know, and that's hard for pros sometimes, because they think, I'm worth, you know, $65 an hour. Why would I do this? Well, $18 is better than sitting on your rear end in the office, or, you know. So, but like I said, they'll do quite a few in cardio and camp, and you know, it's just. And we always go, gosh, it'd be nice if you all would sign up early so I can staff those right, but they keep coming back. The culture here has changed. It used to be 6 to 1, and people would be ticked off. Now, this is not for Alta clinics and team clinics, you know, but they would, 6 to 1 was like, that's it. Nobody else could get in, and they would get in a huff. But now it's changed. I mean, a bunch of our clinics will run 1 pro, 2 courts. It's like kin to heart stuff, you know, kin. So,
Is that because of the quality of your staff, that they can do that and members are happy?
yeah. Yeah, I think it is. I think they know that we make it fun no matter what, you know, and they just keep coming back. So it's the staff does a great job. I watched one time, we had Northside Hospital. You remember that event, and you got 10 people on a court and 1 pro, and it rained. And I'll never forget, we were hosting it here, and so now you got, you know, 160 ladies here, probably 80 of them came inside. And so I sent, at that time, my staff over to 3 and 4 to run drills, and before Carmen worked for me, Carmen and Heather were over on court 1 and 2 indoors. And the difference in how it ran 40 people over on Carmen's trained court versus my old staff that looked like ants running around that didn't know what was going on, you know, that's the difference in what a staff member and their training can do. So the quality of staff. Yeah.
Jeff, what are the different focus groups that you have?
The different focus groups?
The focus groups that you have.
You know, we'll have a junior focus group. We'll have a ladies team focus group. We use our captains hard and heavy on that, and then special events type of focus group.
So is that part of your tennis committee, or how?
No, not necessarily. No, tennis committee is a whole different focus group, but it's, you know, they're a diverse group that make up all the demographics of the tennis population. We'll single out like the Alta captains or the junior moms and parents that way and have those focus groups also. Yeah.
You're talking about doing like social event, like for your tennis staff and tennis pros. Do you guys do anything with everybody, like greens and grounds, servers, tennis, like of the whole club together?
No, we don't. You know, and that's one of those things that, you know, we talk about silos a lot of time in a club like this, because I'm all the way over there and I'm on my island, and then you've got food and beverage and golf here. Then if anybody went over there's a 40,000 square foot athletic facility on that side. So we're spread out. There you go.
Good job.
We're spread out, and sometimes we miss out on those things. You know, we do an employee outing in the summer and one at Christmas, but you'll see the pockets of the department stay together. Well, I was talking to a golf pro the other day about maybe we ought to do a softball event against the golf department. So do something fun like that.
What about reviews?
Gosh, you gotta love them, don't you? Reviews. Yeah, we do annual reviews. They're just, you know, I'm not a big annual review guy. We're not. That's too late. If it's not been corrected, it's, you know, it's your staff should know how you're doing. I guess you could do a quarterly review. We have to do them. We got, you know, corporate. But I'm not a big review person.
We've actually gotten away from presidents of organizational theory and pretty much on a monthly basis, you know, how are we tracking toward goals?
Yeah.
You know, what can we do to help you, vice versa?
What's a review usually tied to?
Financial.
3% raise, you know, cost of living raise. So all they want to do is sit in there and get their 3% cost of living raise. It's not necessarily, you know, the positive function. So I always hate that those two are always connected. I think they ought to be disconnected if you're going to do it that way. So yeah, we do reviews. It's one of the least favorite things, if not the least favorite thing that I do. Not because I don't have, it's just, yeah. We've already communicated with each other on a constant basis. So. Anything else? Thank you for letting me do this. I appreciate you guys, and welcome to the club. It's always an honor to have this event here at the club, and I hope we'll continue to do it moving forward as time.